hi.
Hello.
Yeah. My name's Killian. I wrote this, and I'm Jordan in it.
Said so disdainfully, Jordan.
Jordan. I had to remember who the character name was. Yeah. And then Lauren, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Lauren. I directed it. The thing. Directed Baby, It's Cold Outside.
Yep. And you did a fantastic job.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
All right. And this is our sort of talk back for it. As you guys know from the previous one, we're going to do sort of a running commentary over top of it as we're going. If we have a moment where we decide, oh, this is something that needs to be addressed and it'll take longer, we'll pause the video. I can pause it, Lauren can shout out, and I'll pause it for her, and we'll go from there. So yeah, without further ado, let's get cracking.
Woohoo. Baby.
It's the long title.
I know, I like that little.
Cheers. So, we actually used iced tea, like Arizona iced tea, for and it was very good. And we went through a whole bottle, like we filled this all the way up to the top, and went through the whole thing while we were shooting scene 1.
Yeah. Pretty quickly. We had to end up mixing it with water for later in the shoot.
Yeah.
Mother Nature really helped us out with that blizzard, like perfectly timed blizzard.
Yeah.
To get the shot of the window.
I've never seen it this week.
Because that's all real. That's not fake mashed potatoes, instant mashed potatoes.
No.
That's real snow. But then there was, what was that stuff you put on the glass? It was that frost.
Yeah. So we put there's an aerosolized fake frost that you can have that we put on, and it's actually really cool because you can watch it sort of dry, and it dries and it like patterns like you're watching the window sort of frost over. It's really cool. And then we had the spray snow that we sort of did around the edges. And because we filmed this during the day, the windows are sort of blown out, which is sad because you don't really get a good image of what those look like, but they looked really cool. And then the shot out the window is actually taken in my kitchen, because it was the easiest to get to.
Well, there you go.
I just framed it so you couldn't tell that it was in the kitchen.
See, and that's perfect. And then the windows being blown out actually was a good thing.
Yep.
The lighting was just tricky in the first little bit.
Yeah.
Well, the lighting was kind of tricky the whole time, but in a good way.
Yes. And this is Marie. Marie couldn't be here with us today because Marie has a migraine and couldn't record. And so I was like, it's okay, go back to bed. But Marie is fantastic and looks great in this still right here.
Oh, I loved that shot of her framing.
Yes.
That was so. It was the light, the way it's coming in. It just looks so good.
Marie could use this as part of her reel and like I think book work. Like
100%. She absolutely should.
Like she looks great. She performs great. Like the natural lighting gives her like a really nice hair light behind her right now. Like this is a really nice shot.
Like, illuminated. Yeah.
This is as good as anybody will look during the rest of the shoot.
It's true.
This isn't as long as
also great that illumination looks really good there.
Yeah.
This bad.
My hair completely unbrushed.
Like, oh yeah, and then that doorway just looming in the side, that was you know, a choice that I made to make sure that doorway was just kind of always there, was just kind of always looming, like it was its own character.
Here, let me take it back real quick. Yeah. Yeah, it's I really like this shot because it, like, my inspiration for this was German Expressionism, and this shot to me is one of the most clearly German Expressionist shots.
Yep, like
Thing. Like
slight
everyone's in
off center, super wide,
Mhm.
and ominous.
Yeah, there's something very ominous about the shot. It's like you get like the light coming in like from the windows, and then like everyone is over into one side of the frame, and as you said, it's a super wide shot. We get all this like sort of empty space. The molding on the walls really does help the look for this.
Yeah.
And then like we get, as you were pointing out, Lauren, you get this like doorway over here in the corner that is just like looming and like just descending into a void.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's this is one of my favorite shots in the thing. Just like really good. And we didn't realize this until later. But there's skulls above all. There's 4 skulls, and there were 4 roommates, and there's the skulls sort of above the couch, and it's like just a happy accident.
Yeah, it really was. And then once I realized, was like, oh shit, those skulls are there. I'm like, wait a second, it looks like that's on purpose. So let's just leave it. That's perfect.
Happy accident.
Yeah. Moments of silence. So important in style.
I think that take was the one Jasmine had to try to light the lighter like 3 times, because that light is very like.
Take 2.
Oh, I love this moment.
Oh yeah, did you get a chance to like watch this after it debuted?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, good. I was like, oh, is this your first time?
Yeah. Is this your first time seeing the short film you directed? Oh, and then how she just disappears.
Yeah. Okay, so this shot is really interesting because I guarantee that this is the shot where we had me holding the light under her for this, because it's way too bright for it to be just the two candle lights.
Was it? I think that was just candlelight. I think that was just me and Will and Jasmine with the candlelight in this particular shot. I could be wrong, because I remember
here in a second.
The candles up a little bit. I could be wrong.
I think when it was just the candles, she held them higher to get them up on her face. But I think we'll be able to tell here in a second.
Shot, she immediately goes in and puts them onto the sink.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was all candle.
Yeah, it must have been, because she actually got into the door, whereas when I had the light underneath her, she got like 3/4 of the way in the door and had to stop because my arm cannot bend that way.
Physically is.
Yeah. I tried to move it as quickly as possible, but did not work. So yeah, that must have been. Oh wow.
Yeah.
This shot is this whole section is so cool.
I think it might. This and later in the hallway, there are so many cool opportunities. You killed this.
Crushed it, absolutely.
Yeah. Like 100%.
Oh, here we're coming up on you. Oh, you're so creepy.
I love that you can't, unless you're really. I love that in that shot it's not as noticeable.
Oh yeah. I missed it the first time.
Yeah. Good. That was kind of what my hope. And then this, and when I was reading the script,
I'm sorry.
This shot was kind of like changed in my brain as I was reading it, and it was like, I don't know, there was something about just having that feeling of the darkness, the ominous, like just getting closer and closer and closer and closer and closer until you just can't deny that it's there anymore. and having that be the thing that overtakes. But also, it's just a interesting shot, and it was funny, like trying to figure out how to like I was like, am I gonna need a rolly chair of some sort? But the bathroom was so small. I was like, I don't think that this is gonna work.
The bathroom is perfectly sized for a person, and it's not perfectly sized for a film crew.
Like one person. And so and Will was like, okay, well maybe we can like figure out how to, just leaning forward. And so I'm standing on the top of the bathtub, like the rim of the tub, and I just like moved my basin like that, but tried to keep it
like
level.
Yeah.
I wanted it to be as level as possible, not coming down.
Yeah, because I wasn't in the restroom when you guys were shooting that. So you're standing on the bathtub?
Yep. I had to because the way the camera was closer to Jasmine than it was to me. So the perspective, I had to be a little bit higher to end up level with her. Because if I was standing just with her, it would have looked.
Yeah.
I would have looked shorter than her at first, and then come up as opposed to just sliding in.
Your entire look changes so much when you let your hair down. Like when we were doing the makeup, I was like, okay, and then you like put your hair down. And I was like, all right.
Yeah. All right. Now you're terrifying.
Now you're and like with the high contrast shadows, like it really brings out like the dark, like the shadows that I put in there just really like brought out. You just looked very gaunt and like very sort of ghoulish, and it's like, ugh.
Yeah. No, you did a great job with the contrast of that makeup, making sure like parts of the face were sunken in and then other parts were popping out. So it was great.
It also, I mean, the makeup, like, it's not what I initially wanted it to be in my head. But like it ended up being okay. I didn't take the tag off the bottom of that glass.
I noticed that, but I was like, fuck. Well,
I mean, I've had that glass for like a week, or not a week, like 2 months. And time doesn't exist.
No.
And just legitimately had never taken the tag off, so I guess it's sort of real.
Should we?
Okay, so this is fun. Okay, so we had to punch in this shot, and there's a reason we had to punch this shot in. And I don't know if you caught it, Lauren, in the draft that you saw before we posted this. But you could see, so we're both holding lights underneath our candles. For the audience, we're both holding lights underneath our candles that are flickering, which, as it turns out, this took like 13 and a half hours to shoot. And the last 8 hours of the day we're shooting all the candlelit scenes.
Yeah.
And it gave me a screaming migraine because I wasn't wearing my glasses, and Marie and I both got headaches because we were just in gently strobing lights for 8 hours. And so like by the end of it, we both had a headache, and then after cleanup, like I was like light sensitive. I was like, oh no. But anyway, we had to like hold these lights under the candle so that we could like actually have enough light for this. But you could see the brick under the candle in this shot. So I was like, hey Meredith, can we just punch in just like from here to here?
Yes.
Like just take the bottom the bottom inch off of the shot, please, because I see the brick for the light. And she was like, oh, yep.
Yeah, good catch.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were really hard to finagle with work. It was like, no, you have to hold it. Now hold it to your chest. Nope, now hold it under the candle. Now hold it every single which way.
That was the hard part.
That was, yeah. But don't drop the fire. The candle.
I love this score beat here.
Mm.
It's such a classic monster movie or horror movie sound.
Yes. It was perfect.
Oh, here we go.
I love how long everything takes.
Okay. I'm gonna have to pause this to talk about this. Okay, so this looks great. This looks fantastic.
Perfect.
So when we were talking about doing this short, we were talking about filming for black and white, and because it was inspired by old school films and stuff like that, one of the big things that we were talking about was utilizing old school filming techniques. And so all of the blood in this is done with chocolate syrup, which is a cool theory, and it looks fucking stellar. The problem is that it looks like poop in real life.
It looks like shit. It looks like someone took a big shit in your sink.
Yeah,
That's what it looks like.
we were putting it on the sink, and all of us were laughing because we just kept saying it looks like doo doo.
It just looked like a big bunch of doo doo, and I just like when you guys had to throw the door open and be like, "Oh my god!" and the bloody sink.
It's just like
For a couple times, it was hard to get back on track after that. I was like, "Okay, we gotta breathe. We gotta breathe through the doo doo in the sink." Take a breath, and then
we'd be getting ready to do a take, and I'd lean over to Marie and be like, "It's doo doo," and like she would start laughing, and I'm like, "Haha."
Oh god.
But yeah, so this looks great, but now imagine in real life, don't let it ruin this, but imagine for a second in real life that what we're seeing is a white sink and all of this blood is just brown. And it looks like somebody had heinous liquid shits, and then
like a horrible accident that they tried to clean up after and couldn't.
couldn't. The most somber scene in the short.
Yes, 100%.
Also, we have some audio problems here.
And it's like the most like informative scene in the film too. I was like, but you know, it doesn't sound like the first draft that I saw. It was like the sound was really hard to hear, but now it's not as bad.
I did a little bit of work on the audio for it to try to. Also, shout out to Will, who was our DP for this, who fucking crushed it.
He was fantastic. He was so technically proficient. It was awesome. It was when I would be like, "Can we like do this?" Yeah, we can.
I suppose so.
We can do that. We can do whatever you need.
I mean, they'd have to be, right?
Yeah. So.
Otherwise, why us?
Yeah. Okay. So some background information on this. Like obviously there's like the wider sort of thing. It's all a metaphor for depression, both seasonal and like chronic or
nobody deserves this, least of all you.
But also sort of this idea, like aside from that, the idea that there's something in the shadows that is taking people.
Nobody.
And I love this like justification here, like it has to be happening to other people because like why would it just be happening to us?
Yeah, because that would make it so much worse if it were just you.
Mm-hmm. Now, Lauren, here's my question: is it happening to other people?
Is it happening
to other people, or do you think it's just them?
I think it is happening to other people.
I do too. I think this is like a widespread issue.
Yeah, that was kind of how I just always assumed it when I went into it.
Wait, where are you going?
I can't do this anymore. I'm sorry.
Wait,
please stop the whole thing. And it took, and it was like,
please.
got it in like 3 takes.
3 takes, yeah.
It was perfect. Will was so great. He was like, "Oh yeah, let me just put on this gimbal real quick." Got everything all hooked up, and it was so wonderful.
Yeah, it's so great because like this shot here, like we're going into this. I took it back here. So like you don't realize that this is the gimbal shot, and then for the first time
Wait,
the
where are you
camera
going?
moves,
I
and you're
can't
like,
do this
what?
anymore. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No.
Stay back.
And it's just I've like
No.
that putting them. I was like, okay, we have to like there needs to be a moment of movement. Where does it come? And that was just to me as I was thinking of putting it in a couple different places, but I was like, that's the perfect place because that's like it's just this moment of desperation. This like that just fit so perfectly having a shift in camera in motion. I mean,
Oh, absolutely.
you know, it was
There's a shift in action, there's a shift in everything moves
tone and
suddenly.
yeah, yeah.
And so this is like, you're correct, this is the right spot to put a camera movement.
Yeah.
And the only time the camera moves ever in the whole thing. Everything else is locked down. Um
Oh, and I love the
Nope.
Sorry.
hallway.
It's not your fault.
Meredith crushed it with the sound design.
Yeah, she did. I love that.
The growl is actually like me.
Oh,
Growling,
is it
and then it's pitch shifted down a little bit. But yeah, it's the like all the monster sounds are me. uh, because like I'm just the resident monster sound guy, so like them to her.
I need a shadow monster. Got it. Now I need a water monster. Okay.
Yeah, literally, that's I did the whispers, like I layered them and echoed them and did the stuff. I did the growls and all the stuff, and she just put it together and it sounds so good.
Oh, and I loved, and I knew when I was sending my notes for the first drafts, I was like, I hope this is making sense the way that I'm trying to get this hallway sequence like edited together. That's like really like and then well, having it come in close on you for your reaction to her blowing the candle out.
Yeah.
Just think, yeah, you know, just anything to add to that sense of being alone and
Yeah.
oh, we have more poo poo on the floor coming up.
This shot looks so good though.
It does.
I did not expect the shot to look this good, and it looks so good and so gruesome. But in real life, it looked like somebody had took a diarrhea dump on the floor and sprayed
Yeah, and I felt so bad when I was like, oh, Killian's gonna have to clean this up.
Yeah, I discovered it. I was just like, fuck it. Whoop.
How long was your hallway sticky after that was over?
It wasn't.
Oh, good.
I swiffered it twice, and it was good. Boom, hard cut.
Yeah, I love that. Okay.
Then we got the
Oh, and I love that it's just you and the wind and the candles. And it's hard to see in the black and white, especially if you're not watching this in a pitch black room. This movie is best watched in absolute pitch black darkness.
Yes.
Like 100%. But there are blankets on the couch for each character who has gone into the darkness, and only the keen observer will notice that in the very beginning there's an extra blanket on the couch.
Yeah, well, especially because in the beginning is really the only time where it's bright enough that you can see, because unfortunately we didn't think of the fact that the blanket was purple on a black couch.
It just blends right in.
Yeah. I should have taken the purple blanket and then given the bright, or like the green blanket or whatever to Kennedy.
Yeah.
But didn't think about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's so Lauren actually plays Kennedy, or Shadow Monster version of Kennedy. Right. Looking over, sad. Oh no. Alone, pulling.
Ah, and I love that screechy, high pitched. I love that.
That's it. That's baby. It's cold outside.
Done with that.
I'm actually going to take that. So you guys are all wearing these like shawls that like are just and it looks really good here on camera, but in reality it's literally just a cheap sheet, like cheap sheets that I like cut up and like tore the seams out of so that like they're ratty around the edges. But it gives you guys all like a uniform like drab look across like your shoulders, which is really nice.
Yeah, it looked really good because I was like, I don't want everyone to just look like, stage hands,
Yeah.
like stage managers. At the theater.
Shit. He's being stalked by stage managers.
Yeah.
The worst. That's a new kind of hell.
Oh my God. Oh my God. If anything would make you feel inadequate, it would be being stalked by stage managers.
It really would. That'd be the worst. I love here. Let me see if I can up the quality of this really quick for Jasmine's. Like I love Jasmine's makeup here.
It's really good.
Back.
It's really good.
It's
I
like
think that it's the heaviest of all the makeup.
yeah. I wish the one thing that I wish is I wish that we had a little bit more light on Marie. Because her makeup was also really cool. But Jasmine's was the most like in the lighting, it really like you've got the like veiny look going up her forehead and like everything. It looks I'm very happy with Jasmine's makeup, especially in the shot.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
came together well.
But yeah, so that's Baby It's Cold Outside. You were talking about that the screechy violin sound.
Yes, I love that at the very end because it's so you hear that and you know what kind of film you're watching. And
Yeah.
it's just perfect. It's what it's like, and it's so stark. And I love that it was silent and then having that sound. Because I'm not a fan of horror films that try to tell an audience how to feel, or any film really, where like the music is like telling an audience how they need to feel. It's like the driving force. I really like when the performances and the tone and the style kind of do that, and the music is there to as an undercurrent and is there to support it without directing people how to feel.
Exactly.
And I think that balance was hit really well with this.
I mean, yeah, I think that like on all levels, like it really came together really well. This is one of my favorite episodes of Short Scream so far. I think it's one of the better things that we've done. And it turns out now that you have directed the three of my favorite short screams. You directed Seeing Double, which is easily one of my favorites, especially the final moment where it like turn like the camera and it's Vicky's face and like Chase sort of like coming down the hallway all creepy. That moment actually gets me every time I watch it. It makes me be like
Yeah.
uh
He did have a really good like creepy walk too.
yeah. And then you did Silent Night, which is a lot of people's favorite. That and we peaked early.
Early. Well, this will bring it.
and then a year later, you came back and directed this one, and this is easily one of my favorites. It's totally different than a lot of the stuff we've done, but it like, I think it carries. I think it really like.
I think 100% because it's that different, more subtle brand of horror that is my jam. That's my favorite.
Yeah. I like that there's so many questions in this one that like,
yes,
what is happening? Why is it happening? Why them? What exactly is going on? And like, you can figure out a lot of it by just rewatching it. It's like one of those things where like, but like a lot of the questions that still don't get answered, were left unanswered on purpose. I personally like, I think it's scarier when you don't have all the answers. And especially in short form stuff like this is, credits included, it's still under 10 minutes. And so I think that it's scarier when you don't have all the answers, especially in a short thing. And it's like, You know, like I personally, like I would watch a feature film set in this world.
I would too. 100. I would love that so much. And it's, I guess, what was that film? The Lighthouse.
Has a similar feel.
Similar feel, but not as. It wasn't as, you know, obviously not exactly the same, but like I would love to see or direct a feature that was set in a world like this. Like I love it so much because I love that when you leave things open ended, that really gives people the opportunity to let their imagination kind of run wild, and it kind of brings out what they're the most afraid of just within themselves.
Yeah.
And I think that is, I think that's a really cool thing to achieve in a horror film, which is, you know, what we tried to do with this one.
Yeah. Also, costuming was really fun for this because everyone was very comfortable all day.
Super comfortable, just pajamas, sweatpants. It was like, you know, you didn't have to change your clothes from the clothes you've been wearing for the last 7 days.
Yeah, it's whenever I costume anything, I try very hard to make sure that everyone is comfortable as much as possible, because I know that especially doing like indie stuff, like you end up doing really long days. You know, we thought this was going to take 8 hours. It took 13 and a half hours to shoot this.
When I was going in, I was like, well, I hope that everybody's ready for a long day. Everyone was a champion. Like, it was great. Like, everyone kind of was in it together. We knew it was going to be a long day. Especially once we realized, like, you know, because doing all the different takes, it was really hard. And I kept trying, because normally when I would direct something a little differently, it's like, you can start like a couple sentences back or whatever. But with this style, you really kind of have to go back and shoot the whole scene a couple times. Like,
yeah,
you really have to for editing, because you really need that just long.
It's the pauses and like the just like letting sort of the desolation settle in.
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah.
It was awesome. It was so fun.
It was super awesome to work with you again. I would love to shoot another one with you, provided you don't ship off to the other side of the country.
Who knows?
But if you do ship off to the other side of the country, it's because cool things are happening for you.
Exactly. So it'll be for good reasons.
Yeah. So like I would be sad for me, but I'd be very happy for you. Okay. Well, thank you everybody for watching. We are going to do we do these now in between short screams. We're going to hopefully have another short scream next week. Fingers crossed. We just wrapped shooting for Raven, and so there's a possibility we will not be able to have a short scream this coming week because it was a super intensive shoot, and we've been very busy. So if we don't have one, forgive us. We'll put something up in its place. In the meantime, thank you guys very much. Thank you, Lauren, for being fantastic. Shout out to Jasmine and Marie, who both gave fantastic performances and were lovely to work with on this. Jasmine, who's one of the board members and founding members, and Marie, who has been my friend for years, and crushed it on set. And yeah, see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Hey everyone! Thank you all for watching. It means a lot. If you like what we do and want to see more, please visit our page or click on the suggested video here on the screen. And please consider hitting those like and subscribe buttons. I also wanted to tell you that we've launched a Patreon. It takes a lot of time, energy, and a not insignificant amount of money to bring you all of this content. So, if you enjoy our channel and would like to see us grow, please consider joining our Patreon. All patrons get a special listing here at the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching!